Good morning. Well, it's an irritating week this week because the person who's been running the shop has handed their notice in and has left, and as I'm the only other trained member of staff for the shop, I've been working in the shop, which isn't exactly exciting. So this week I've only got one day on the ground. So as you can see, I've collected a few branches together, and I'm going to be having a bonfire because I need to get rid of that before it kills the grass underneath there. But I've also got various piles around the ground of where I've cut stuff and dragged it to the side and gone, well, I'll deal with that later. So once I've got this fire going, got that lot burnt down onto it, I'm then going to be going around collecting all the big piles of stuff that I've got everywhere as well and trying to get rid of that. So yeah, we'll set you up on the stand and see how we get on. Now hopefully this fire is actually going to burn because we have had rain for the last few days, so this is kind of saturated, but we'll see what we can do. So if you're thinking chuck some petrol on it and see if you lose your eyebrows, I'm not going to be doing that. I have set myself a challenge. I'm going to be using one lighter block and we'll see if we can get it going with that. I say that, I have got a bag of dry wood here from the garage, all offcuts from making stuff at home, so I think I'll do okay. And of course they are the most useless fire lighters ever, but that's why I'm happy to bring them to work and use them here. So it's going, it'll get there. Well, it's not even half the bag, but I think that's got going. So I'll move you back here. Yeah, about here I think I'll do. And yeah, I'll start loading the stuff onto it. Well, this is going to be a slow fire because everything's wet and smoking a little bit. Well, smoking one hell of a lot actually. But yeah, I was going to say the problem I've got. I built a nice pile here on our fire pile, and people kept adding to it. I stopped, and that's why I started that pile over there. But as you can see from this mound at the back here, yeah, people have just kept adding. That's mostly the owner, and there's a couple of cottages that we allowed to put stuff on the fire. But they've just kept going back and back and back, which is bringing it close to the tree line, which I don't like. And they're putting things in it like grass, which really doesn't burn well at all. But as you can see, if we come around here, the fire is spreading that way into it. So that's producing a lot of smoke, and it's pushing the fire back that way. So I'm trying to drag that stuff up onto the pile at the front here, but the problem is there's no wood in that to actually create embers. So I need to put a little bit of that on to create the embers, and then a little bit of that on to just sort of get rid of it. So yeah, it's slow, but I'm getting there. Now you might be thinking, some decent wood going on there at last, that'll burn nicely. Well, unfortunately it's a little bit wet. It's all saturated, so yeah. But if you're thinking it's slow and boring, just imagine how it's like for me. I've been here for an hour and a half already on this fire. Normally I'd be done by now because I let things dry out. Because of the time restraints I've got, only having one day, it's like I've got to do it, even though it's a bit too damp to burn. Yeah. I really should have brought a chair with me. Right, well this is usually the part where I go, that's everything loaded onto the fire, I'll leave that to burn down and I'll show you what it looks like in the morning. But of course today I'm actually going around collecting more, so I'm going to start with that pile of logs over there in the corner. So whenever I cut trees down. The owner says, "Oh, leave the bigger branches so I can use it for firewood." And I've been putting it all in that corner there, and he's decided now that his log store is full and he doesn't need any of that. So he's fine with me putting that on the fire. I did say about putting it in the car park, seeing if anyone wanted free firewood, but he went, "Nope, just put it on the fire." So on the fire it goes. Well, I've loaded that lot up. That's only half of it. There's still a massive great pile there, so I'm going to sit and have some lunch and just watch it burn down for a while. Right, well, it's been half an hour for lunch, and it's not exactly a raging inferno there, so I'm going to put some more logs on. Yeah, because it's going to take a while otherwise. Well, there we go. There's a bonfire you can be proud of now. So yeah, this lot should burn a little hotter than the previous lot. So what I put on before lunch was mostly willow. And willow doesn't burn particularly hot. It's actually quite slow burning as well. So that's why I could get quite so close with all the stuff I was putting on. This stuff that I put on as the second lot, there's a whole mixture of woods in there. There's sycamore, there's pine, there's ash, there's alder, and as well as a bit more willow as well. I think there's cherry in there as well. It's a complete mix. So a lot of those do burn a bit hotter, so we'll keep an eye on it. Problem is, I want to go to the other end of the middle lake to go and get the rubbish from down there. But I don't want to walk away from this and leave it and have a log roll out, so we'll give it a bit and we'll see how things go. I might go and get other stuff first before this burns down and gets to the stage of things dropping out. We'll see. Right, well that just seems to be sitting there. The one piece that I was concerned about, which was that bit of pine that was sticking out, has burnt and come down now, so yeah, I think I'll leave it to it. I'll go and load the trailer up and come back down, and hopefully by then it will burn down a little bit, we can put some more on. Right, so I'm up the end of the lake, and you've probably seen the videos recently where I've done different bits and pieces, the decks and the trees and things like that. So I've got some bits that I haven't been able to shred. I've got the decks. I've also got this massive pile of logs here, which is from where I cut this hedge back 2 years ago, which I never got around to getting rid of, so I'll have to deal with those, but I think I need a chainsaw for some of those. And then I've got a new pile of logs here starting from where I took some branches down the other day, so yeah, we're going to clear as much of this as we can today, so let's start loading it into the trailer. Seems a shame throwing away new wood, but I don't know what you're going to do with like 1 foot sections of deck board. Right, well I think I'm going to have to call that a full load, so let's go and get rid of it. Now if you notice, I'm using the old mower, I'm not using the nice shiny new one. That's because I consider things like this a little bit of abuse. Mowers aren't really designed to tow heavy things, so I'm using the old mower for lugging stuff around, because if it breaks, we don't care. I'm keeping the new mower purely for cutting grass at the moment, so right, let's get going. Well, it's definitely a load this time. Well, I don't know when the camera battery went flat, but I finished tidying this area up as much as I need to. So I've still got a couple of bits here. The planks there, the ends are a little bit rotten, but the bit in the middle is still good, so I might be using those for something in the future. These logs here, I've got some path edging that I need to do, so I'm going to be using the logs as path edging, and then the smaller bits I'm going to be using as stakes to hold it in place. So that might be a future video coming up, and those bits there are just big, so I'll deal with them another day. But it's a lot tidier along here. We haven't got all the big piles, just two. which is not too bad. And the little bits like this I'm going to take home and put in my firewood store. So it's getting near the end of the day, so I don't know how much more I can get done, but I'm going to empty this trailer and then see if I can find some more stuff to put on the fire. Right, so the last things to go on here for today are some big logs from over there, so I'll bring them down and set them up around here. Now the camera card's saying it's getting rather full, so I'll set you up here and we'll see how much we can record. Right, well I've managed to load those big logs on, and I'm going to leave it like this overnight. Now the owner's here, so he's going to be keeping an eye on it. But yeah, so these 3 big logs around the front here that you saw me put on, those were cut last year. They were cut from the owner's garden, so they've sat for a year and they're pine, so they should burn through without any issues whatsoever. And the other big logs that I've put, you can see most of them around the back here, that's actually a big beech tree that we had fall down. When I say big beech tree, they were the small offcuts. They actually cut the main trunk into slabs. But that was 3 years ago before I recorded anything. So yeah, but that should burn through really nicely overnight. So I'll check this again in the morning. And I'm sure there'll be a few bits that haven't burnt through. Because like this log here, that end of that doesn't look like it's going to burn through at all. Because it's too far away from the fire. So I'll stack it back up in the morning. And it'll probably get going again. So see you in the morning. Okay, well it's the next morning and that's burnt down lovely. So I've got this log here is rolled out for some reason, but other than that they're all fine, so I'll just quickly push it all up into the middle and it'll get going again. Right, I'll leave that like that today and I'll see what it's like tomorrow. Well, it's 2 days later and we've had some horrendous rain, but as you can see by the dry patch around this log, that's still dry, which means there's still heat underneath there. I'm pretty sure if I wanted to, I could stir this up and get this fire going again to burn through the last of it. But as you can hear, it is incredibly windy today, so I won't be doing that. So yeah, those logs can stay there until I next have a fire. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll get some more time on the grounds and we'll get some more interesting content coming through. But for now, I shall see you later.